Good day to everyone, and welcome to another session of our video lesson. Flashed on your screen is a picture of a girl named Olivia. So read what Olivia says about her plants. So after reading what Olivia says about her plants, let us study the following sentences. You have there sentence number 1. Olivia says, I have beautiful, healthy plants in my garden. Sentence number 2. Olivia says that she has beautiful, healthy plants in her garden. Now, there are two ways of expressing the words of a speaker. It could either be direct or indirect. Let's take a closer look on sentence number 1. Olivia says, I have beautiful, healthy plants in my garden. As you can notice, sentence number 1 contains exact words of the speaker. What is that exact words you have there? I have beautiful, healthy plants in my garden. This sentence is called direct speech. And direct speech has two parts. The first part is the introductory part, which is Olivia says. And you have there, I have beautiful, healthy plants in my garden is the second part of the direct speech, which is also known as quoted part. You have to remember the following. The quoted part contains the direct or exact words of the speaker. This part is enclosed in quotation marks. The introductory part may come before, after, or at the middle of the quoted part. And what separates the quoted part from the introductory part is the punctuation mark, comma. So remember that the comma is used between the introductory part and the quoted part. Sentence number 2. Olivia says that she has beautiful, healthy plants in her garden. Sentence number 2 gives the words of the speaker as reported by another person. The words are not exactly repeated. So this sentence is called indirect speech, or also known as reported speech. Welcome to lesson number 5, which is entitled Direct and Indirect Speech. The objective of this lesson is for you to be able to use direct and reported speech appropriately in varied contexts. This lesson describes the importance and differences between direct and reported speech. This also explains different ways and processes to be considered in converting direct speech to reported speech and vice versa. You are expected to identify the difference between direct and reported speech. Use direct and reported speech appropriately, and understand and follow the rules. Learning task 1 on page 21 of your module, you would see there 5 sentences which are classified as direct speech and another 5 sentences which are classified as indirect speech. For example, sentence number 1. Joan said, I will finish my assignments. Indirect speech, Joan said that she would finish her assignments. Sentence number 2, direct speech. He said to me, what are you cooking? Indirect speech. He asked me what I was cooking. Number 3, direct speech. She said, my friend visited yesterday. Indirect speech. She said that her friend had visited the day before. Direct speech for number 4. Kenneth said to Lisa, close the door. Indirect speech. Kenneth ordered Lisa to close the door. Last, number 5, direct speech. Diane said, will I pass the test? Indirect speech. Diane asked whether she would pass the test. Learning task 2 on page 21 of your module is asking you to tell whether each of the following statements is a direct or reported speech. Let us try number 1. This sentence is a direct speech. There is a presence of a comma separating the introductory part to the quoted part. Number 2. This sentence is a direct speech. You have there the quoted part, I am one in a million, which is enclosed in quotation marks. Number 3. This is indirect speech. There's no presence of a comma nor quotation marks. So this one is a reported one. Number 4. This one is indirect speech. Number 5. So this is indirect speech. Number 6. The answer is direct speech. Number 7. This is direct speech. Number 8. So this is indirect speech. Number 9. This is direct speech. So what are the rules in changing direct speech to indirect speech? When changing direct speech to indirect speech, the following should be remembered. You have there changes in tense. The simple present tense in direct speech will be changed to simple past. Present continuous will become past continuous. Present perfect will become past perfect. Simple past will become past perfect. Past continuous will be past perfect continuous. And you have the simple future will become specifically, or the simple future tense which uses will or shall will become would or should plus the base form of the verb. Next is the changes in time. You have there now in the direct speech will become then in indirect speech. Today will be changed to that day. Tomorrow will be changed to the next day. Yesterday will be changed to the previous day. Last week will become the previous week. Last month will become the previous month. Like last year, you can say the previous year. Next change will be the changes in pronoun. Like I in direct speech will become he or she in indirect speech. We will become they. You will become he or she or they. My or mine will become his or her. Our will become their. Us will become them. And you have there last is the changes in place. You have here in direct speech will become there in indirect speech. This place will become that place. These places will become those places. So those are the notable, important, significant, relevant changes that you have to take note. Other than that, 4 statements or 4 declarative sentences. Rule number 1, the quotation marks and the comma are omitted. So from direct speech to indirect speech, you are going to delete the quotation marks and the comma. The verb in the introductory part always follows the subject. The verb in the introductory part retains its tense. So you have there, always remember that the verb in the introductory part will always follow the subject of the sentence. You begin with the subject of the sentence followed by the verb. Or you begin your sentence with the introductory part. And there will be no changes at all. Whatever the introductory part is, especially the tense of the verb, it will retain. Like for example, Olivia says. So you have there, Olivia says. When the introductory part is said Olivia. So when you're going to change that into indirect speech or reported speech, you are going to say Olivia said. So whatever the tense of the verb in the introductory part will remain. The word that is often used before the indirect speech. This is for statements. The pronouns change according to the context of the direct statement. So I already have presented to you a while ago the changes in pronoun. Rule number 6. When both the introductory verb and the quoted verb are in the present tense, the verb in the quoted part retains its tense. For example, Althea says, plants provide food for people and animals. The indirect speech, Althea says that plants provide food for people and animals. What are the notable changes in the indirect speech? First, there is no presence of comma separating Althea says, the introductory part, from the quoted part, plants provide food for the people and animals. Also, there is no presence of quotation marks. Comma and quotation marks are omitted. They are deleted. Then in between the quoted and the introductory part is the word that. Then as you can notice, the verb says and provide remains the same because both verbs are in the present tense. Next, rule number 7. When the introductory verb is in the past tense and the verb in the quoted part is in the present tense, the verb in the quoted part is changed to the past tense. Now you have there, Gemberlin said, people realize how important plants are. So you have there two verbs. The verb in the introductory said is in the past tense, and the verb in the quoted part, which is realized, is in the present tense. So since you have there two different verbs, according to our rule, we are going to change the verb in the quoted part to the past tense, which you have, Gemberlin said that people realized how important plants are. Can you see the change in the verb? From realize, it became realized. Next, rule number 8. When the introductory verb is in the past tense and the verb in the quoted part is in the past tense, the verb in the quoted part is changed to the past perfect tense. So again, if you have their verbs or both verbs in the introductory and quoted is in the past, the quoted verb or the verb in the quoted part will be changed to past perfect tense. So here you have, I participated in the tree planting project of our school, said Norshell. So you have there the verb in the quoted part is participated. It's in the past tense. The verb in the introductory part is said, which is also in the past tense. So we are going to change the verb in the quoted part into past perfect tense. So you have there the sentence, Norshell said that she had participated in the tree planting project of their school. So you have there had participated, which is in the past perfect tense. Rule number 9 for declarative sentences. When the introductory verb is in the past tense and the verb in the quoted part is in future tense, will or shall will be changed to would or should. Now you have there, we will help in protecting and preserving our plants, the girls exclaimed. There are two verbs. The verbs of the quoted part is in future tense, will help. The verb in the introductory part, exclaimed, is in the past tense. So again, we are going to change will into would. So your sentence would be, the girls exclaimed that they would help in protecting and preserving their plants. Last rule for statements or declarative sentences. When the quoted part expresses a general truth, a fact, or a habitual action, the same present form is used in the indirect speech, meaning to say there will be no change in the verb in the quoted part. For example, Jessica stated redwood trees are the tallest trees in the world. So, meaning to say, redwood trees are the tallest trees in the world is a fact. It is a general truth. You can even search for it in the internet and it would tell you that the tallest trees in the world are redwood trees. So the verb are will not change anymore. So you have there, Jessica stated that redwood trees are the tallest trees in the world. So that ends our part 1 and rules in changing direct speech into indirect speech for declarative sentences. So see you on our part 2.